Zach, welcome back.
Awesome to be here.
Had that first round finish over John Assam back in your NEF debut back in February. Yeah. Now, I'm super excited about this fight. You've probably been following along a little bit.
Yeah.
Your opponent, Dalton Rice, is making his debut.
Yeah.
Was a really good baseball player. He was signed to a deal. Really, really good all-around athlete. And I got to tell you, it was interesting. I was trying to match him, and nobody would really take the fight because he was an unknown. But then when I asked your coach, Connor Berry, he immediately said, Zach will take it. Could you talk a bit about that mindset of taking on challenges?
Right. Well, that's the thing. So I think, I'm getting older. I don't have all the time in the world. So you kind of have to just do it in general. So I think that for me, when I look at a lot of the younger guys, like even Jorge Masvidal, like we're pretty close in age. That guy fought way before I ever dreamed of doing it. And I missed out on a lot of time. So I have to just go for it. I mean, and even when you look at the Diaz brothers, or BJ Penn, they took every fight. I don't know if I'll be taking every fight, but I have to get them in now while I can.
Let's go back, if we could, just a minute to talk about your fight with John Assam. I just was watching the footage the other day. So methodical, like a really picture-perfect black belt performance, in my opinion. The way you advance position, I mean, it was incredible. Could you talk a bit about that bout and just how your jiu-jitsu training came into play?
Well, I mean, John's a super talented fighter, and I know that he's talented and he's skilled. I think that I didn't want to match him in his modality, and I felt that I would possibly have the advantage if I could grab a leg, which of course was able to work out my way. So I feel like, all the principles that you learn, like position before submission, all these like classic things that you'll learn when you're first a white belt starting out. I mean, more now than ever, it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing. So I think, make them play, into your game, don't play into their game. So I think in my debut, I was so excited just to smash and kick and all this stuff, and it's great, it's exciting, but it cost me dearly. So I think, I'm trying to go back to those real solid principles of what is martial art and what is combat sport.
That's really interesting. And how does the application of your martial arts, how do you reconcile that with competition in the cage? Because I know for some people, I've talked to lifelong jiu-jitsu enthusiasts, and it'd almost be a conflict. I mean, I know that the core is to apply your jiu-jitsu in a self-defense situation. That's kind of the origins of it. But in terms of the competition piece and what keeps you sharp there, how does that fit into kind of your overall master martial arts plan?
Right. Well, so, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of young people that I'm teaching, all the way from like 5 years old, 10 to late teens to early 20s. And I've had coaches who maybe haven't competed, which is great too, totally zen. But I feel like I was always interested in like, does this work? Can this work? So I feel like it's because I co-own the Brazilian top team Lin with my professor, I feel like it's just that next level of when I show something, I don't have to talk about what I've done, but it hopefully passes through in the education, like they can feel that it's true,
Last thing, so this is going to be your second time competing in front of a sold-out NEF crowd, different venue, but I think you made a lot of fans back in February, a lot of main fans with your performance in Bangor. What are you expecting? You're becoming a familiar face to main fans, and what have you started to notice about them maybe, and how do you feel the reception is for you and the rest of the defensive edge guys when you come up to Maine?
I think you guys are just so cool, and I think that you guys like really care, and I think it, it's always a daunting thing to put yourself out there and to face possible disappointment or to try to accept a win graciously and not lose your head over it. So I think for me, it's like constantly keeping a grateful mindset. I'm just so grateful that even though I'm like older, that I'm still, God bless me with like longevity genes, like I'm healthy. I just saw Lyoto Machida, 44 years old, fighting. He got caught, but he still looks great. I mean, that guy's amazing. So, and Luke Rockhold, I know it didn't work out great for him in his bare knuckle, but I so admire his mindset, and that he's still training, and he's still training with also younger fighters who are sort of in their prime right now. So yeah, I mean, grateful mindset. I just have to stay in that space.
Last thing, and I'll let you go, Zach. What's your prediction for tomorrow night? What do you think when you, because I know you're a guy that thinks about the future, that you're a visionary. What is your vision for your fight tomorrow night?
Well, I'll say this, respect Mr. Rice, just very respectful, shook hands, as a gentleman, he's a sportsman. I know he doesn't want me to take him to the ground. So I assume, he's worked with his striking coaches. I'm not terrible with striking, so I figure it'll be sort of the same game plan. He's watched it. I know he knows what's going to happen. But even sometimes, you have your moves, if they're really well done, you can tell the person what you're going to do, and you can still do it. So I'm hoping and believing that it's going to be the same sort of situation, sort of pressure, a takedown, possibly the rear naked choke again, or something else.